line, they've managed to get to a point where everyone's now been assessed under that framework, and they're now looking to simplify and bring together that information that they've received to try and improve. So what's different? I think there were previously 11 frameworks, they're bringing it down to 2 now. That's the new focus. And the 2 key areas are going to be around safety and around leadership, which kind of go hand in hand. So what do we mean by safety? This is compliance. This is why we're all here. Are we doing the right thing at the right time? Are we covered? When the CQC knock on the door, is our ship in order? Are we doing the right things? And leadership. I have, for my sins, I work a lot across the sector, but I have the opportunity to go and see a lot of care homes. And very, very quickly, within the first 5 minutes when you walk into a care home, you've got a general feel of whether that's going to be a really good care home or not. Where does that come from? That comes from leadership. That comes from your home manager. And that's really cascading through your staff as well. Really, really important focus. And throughout this presentation, I'm going to keep bringing back the focus back to that home manager, because that person is critical on delivering any change, whether it be technology, whether it be process, whether it be regulatory enhancements, has to come from that individual. So a couple of things I've looked at. Safety, again, we've talked around compliance, recruitment practices, consistency, that's what they're after. Visibility, transparency of how you're doing things, who you're recruiting, are you recruiting the right people, have they gone through the necessary checks. Safeguarding, again, standard processes that we're all aware of that are not being followed properly by a lot of organisations. I'm very interested in medicines management. I'm going to come to this again in more detail later in the presentation. This is probably the largest transactional process that you do within the care home. So a typical nursing home, 60 beds, will administer somewhere in the region of 24 to 30,000 medications per month. That's a lot of Mars to fill in, a lot of gaps, a lot of dots, a lot of follow-ups that give you the opportunity to make mistakes, and that's what's happening. I've recently been working with a client, sat down, he said to me, I think they've got around about 1,200 beds. He said, I know I've got good staff. I know I deliver good quality care across my homes. I've got great people, but we can't evidence. And I keep getting smashed by the CQC because I'm not doing the right things. The residents are happy, the relatives are happy, but still they're not doing the basics around documentation. So surely technology can help us with this. And again, leadership. Clear link between leadership, culture, and delivery of safe, high quality care. Home manager, home manager, home manager. Critical, absolutely critical on bringing your staff with you. If you've got a happy home, if you've got engaged staff, if you've got staff who have, really the drive and want to work in that environment, you're going to end up with a fantastic organisation and culture to really develop and improve the quality across the piece. So, a couple of other things here that have come out. They've now got their baseline. So 2 things when they come back in, I think you may or may not be aware. What they've said, if you are good or outstanding, they're going to look to visit you possibly between 2 and 3 years, unless they get information which potentially may suggest there may be ill-doing or issues. However, they're going to really ramp up where a home is not potentially performing as it should be, and they really are going to focus on how can we improve, how can we monitor, how can we get better at what we're doing. Next bit here, and this for me is the most important bit. How can you improve the quality of care and living experience for that resident? So for me, the one thing that's still missing from the key lines of inquiry from the CQC, and I'm sure it's going to come, is around the quality of care that you deliver, outcomes. So I'll give you an example. You have a great home, you've got several people with pressure sores within your home, you complete a wound chart every day. Tick. You put some great person-centred notes around that wound chart when you're interacting with that resident. Tick. At the end of the month, CQC will look at that, absolutely fantastic, that looks great, that maybe look outstanding. However, the quality of care that you're delivering, Have they improved? Have you managed to stabilise? Have they got better? None of that is actually looked at in these guidelines. So again, in any other sector, with TripAdvisor, it might be great that you've got a nice room, but if the service isn't great or the quality of service that you're receiving is not right, you're going to complain about that, or it's not going to be right. So it's just a matter of time before outcomes start getting fed into this. It will come, and they're starting to look at it, but they needed to get the baseline. So it's just something really to challenge. Have we got any questions around that? Any thoughts, any views? No? Okay. So, they've looked at 6 key areas from all of their information that they've collated. And don't worry, this is not key lines of inquiry demonstration, this is just going to set the scene. They've got 6 key areas that they want to focus on from all of the information that they've received back. And you're going to see a general trend through this around technology. First of all, system leadership, integration and information sharing. What does that mean? Well, you could do that with paper. You could argue that system leadership might be your processes in your home, how you work, how you interact. But integration and information sharing, it's very difficult to get information out of paper. It's very, very time consuming. And how do you use that information? Where does it go to? Do you end up printing out reports and putting it in a folder, putting it up onto the top because you have to do it? Information governance and data security, the big monster that is GDPR is around the corner. What does it mean? I think, again, we're all trying to find out what that is. However, I've worked with a lot of organisations that get very tied up with this. And yet what I'll ask you is that if you transfer a resident to hospital at the moment, what do you do? Go to ask the audience, what do you do? What?
Hospital transfer.
Okay, and what do you put on there?
Personal details.
Personal details. Who do you normally give that to?
The paramedics.
Or taxi driver, or
Relative.
relative?
Yeah.
How many of those do you get back in the home?
No.
Never.
Right. And how important is it? What is this information really for? This information is for looking after the resident. That's the key. How can you best look after that person? So, you know, this is going to evolve. We have to have structure, we have to have guidelines, we have to have regulatory requirements, but it's there and it's coming. Technology. I never thought I'd hear the CQC driving technology forwards, but it's here. For efficiency, accessibility and more person-centred care. Spot on, tick, at last. Medicines again, we touched on this, basically medicines management. And again, purely around transactional size of that process, as I've talked about. That's why that's there. End-of-life care, delivering good quality care and end-of-life. For me, another critical example of how we can get better as an organisation. Look at exemplar models of this care pathway, implementing those models. And once you've implemented them, monitor. How well are you doing? How well are your other providers doing? Are we in a position that we're the best? Can we get better? Real key driver for me. And finally, around here, personalisation. Again, there's a link, probably with the person-centred nature. It's got to be about the resident. But the other bit, social action and use of volunteers. This is getting this holistic 360 involvement of care for that individual. Relatives, healthcare professionals, staff, most importantly the resident. Are all of those people involved in deriving care plans, asking how they are? You know, really adding to the richness of information around this. So this is what they picked out. And this really probably set the context for today of what I'm trying to get over of how can you get there to try and, you know, within your organisation to try and address these key points. So, 3 pillars for me. And this is not just this sector, this has been applied to lots of other sectors. Business culture transformation, technology data and evidence, improvement and innovation. People, processes, change. This is not just about technology, this is not just about software. This is about looking at how you work. Putting software into a home potentially won't solve your problems unless you run it properly. It's only as good as how you put it in. It's only as good as how it's adopted by your staff. But a big one, am I ready? I see lots of organisations, again, who will say, oh, I need to get an e-roster solution in. I like a care planning solution in, I'd like medicines management in. We've got this regulatory change to do, I've got lots more training to do. We're building another wing on there, I'm short-staffed. capacity within the home, all of a sudden all of that pressure goes back onto the staff. They're the people who are going to, hello? It's okay. They're the people who are going to actually deliver this change. So are you ready? You really need to understand your capacity as an organisation to take change on. And that's not just software, it's change to process, as I say, change to other internal systems. As I said, will IT systems solve my problems? Not on their own. They're only as good as the people who use them, as I say. So they've got to be put in properly. Evidence, improvement, innovation. Where do I start? How good are you now? Yes, you've got a rating from the CQC, but as either home managers or providers, you know what quality of service you're delivering. How do you evidence that? More importantly, how do you get better? You can't just say at this point, oh, I think I'm doing a really good job. You've got to continually challenge yourselves, look at how you work, look at ways of changing your practices. Everyone should change. Use an example. Apple, probably one of the main, one of the largest companies in the world. They continue to put new phones out. They've got the iPhone 7, 8, 9, 10. They're all coming. And then you look at another example, someone like a Tesco, who potentially rested on the laurels somewhat. Along came an Aldi and a Lidl, started challenging them at a different price point. Things will always change in the market, and it's really important that as any organisation you look to continually improve. And another one of my, what's the best way of putting this? Probably a key challenge for me in this organisation. Everyone talks about compliance. I mentioned it earlier on around quality of care. I think, just because you're compliant doesn't mean you're delivering great care. It means that you've got a tick in the box. So where does quality come into this? And that, for every individual in this room and in this sector, should be the driver. We should be doing the best we possibly can. We should be that. We should be compliant. However, only when we get there can we really start leveraging improvements.